Hey guys, welcome to the channel if you're new. Welcome back if you're a subscriber. Special thanks to all my patrons. My name's Neil, and it's time for the next episode of Lost. We're getting into the home stretch of Season 5 already, guys. It feels like we just started Season 5 the other day, but here we are, Episode 13 already out of 17. So yes, we are in the home stretch. I'm excited because it always feels like those final 4 or 5 episodes of a season are especially strong and inevitably turn the story on its head. As much as I've been anticipating certain things about the plot this season, I really have no idea what's happening at the end of this season or where Season 6 may go. I suspect we may find a way to get out of 1977 back into the current timeline, whether that's 2008 or what. Because we still don't know exactly when Ajira 316 is. The only clue we really have, we know it's sometime after January 2005, after the rescue and the exploding freighter. We know, what else do we know? We know it's after that because of the state of Survivorville. And there was a Chiron in episode LaFleur, I suppose, episode 8, where when we were flashing back and forth so much, there was a Chiron that said 30 years later when we flashed from Ajira on the ground. Maybe it was Namaste, I don't know. When we're flashing between Sun and Jin, and there was the 30 years earlier, and we know the past is 77, so maybe Sun is in 2007 with Frank and Ben. Maybe it's 2007. Anyhow, let's talk about a couple of questions that I've had and some theories I've developed in the last couple of episodes. Why is it that Sun didn't flash to 1977? It seems the rest of our Oceanic 6 all did. So what is it about Sun that makes her different? My theory is simple. Jin asked that she doesn't come back. That he asked Locke, don't bring her back. And we've seen enough evidence this season that the island that Locke is fully aligned with the island right now. The island is favoring Locke, and Locke seemed true to his word to Jin. He didn't pursue Sun. Sun's the only one that Jeremy Bentham never visited, and so because Jin asked Locke, please don't bring Sun back, Sun wasn't brought back. Sun still came back to the island, but she wasn't brought back to 77. You know, it's like one of those wishes from a genie in a bottle. You've got to be very careful about what you ask, and Jin's English wasn't quite enough on point to avoid that loophole. Sun's on the island, but she wasn't brought back to 77. So that's my theory. So she knows that Jin and her friends are in the past. The question is will it be easier for her and Ben and Frank to find a way, and Locke obviously, to find a way back to the past, or for everybody stuck in 77 to find a way forward? Each side has somebody who could facilitate it. Like we have Dan Faraday in the past. We saw him at the beginning of the season during the construction of the Orchid. So, and he's got theories. He's always got theories about time travel. So maybe he's figuring out a way to make it happen. Although he's the only one we haven't seen in 77 yet. We saw him back in 74 when they first flashed back there after Charlotte's death. But we haven't seen him since. So what's happened to him? Where has he gone? The way Sawyer's referenced him is he's not there anymore. So has he skipped through time again, or has he gone off on his own on the island? Very curious, very curious. And of course, in 2007, 2008, whenever it is, Locke is on the island, and if he gets to the Orchid or another station, is it possible that he could jump back in time, perhaps bringing Sun and others with him? That, I wouldn't be surprised if that's our season finale this season, one of those scenarios. And wouldn't it be terrible if they cross paths in time? Anyhow, what we did see last episode, episode 12, Dead is Dead, is we really finally got to learn a lot more about the ancientness of the island. We went into the temple. We saw where the smoke monster lives, for lack of a better word, and we saw a full interaction that it had with Ben. Ben went to get judged by the smoke monster, and after that sort of psychological trial, he was deemed fit to live, but only if he does whatever Locke says. He's now Locke's lackey, which I can't imagine sitting well. But it does sort of clarify some thoughts that we've been stewing over since season 1 about the smoke monster and how it's connected to the island and what it all means. You know, ever since we met Danielle, you know, we heard that the smoke monster is the island's security system and that people were infected, and you have a sense of what's happening, but you don't know how it's happening. But now I think perhaps we do. The monster judges the inhabitants of the island. And if you pass, then you become, as Danielle put it, a carrier. But as the others put it, I don't know exactly how the others put it, but the others would probably put it something along the lines of, you are now sort of aligned with the island. You're helping the smoke monster protect the island from outside danger. And it makes me realize that all the way back in episode 4 of season 1 in Walkabout, when Locke was out hunting boar by himself and he came across the smoke monster, we didn't even know it was the smoke monster at the time. We just knew it was the monster. And I think it's clear at this point that he was judged. The island deemed him worthy, and ever since, Locke has been focused on protecting the island and stopping our survivors from leaving the island in one way or another, whether it's knocking out Saeed or trying to persuade people not to go to the freighter, that persuading people in LA that they have to go back. This has been his mission ever since. He's been working for the island, for lack of a better word. You know, this also sort of explains the lists that the others have. They're sort of doing a prejudging for the monster almost. This is a theory of mine, obviously, but like, let's pick out the good ones that we think we might pass, and then we can take them to the smoke monster, and the smoke monster can judge them, and if they pass that test, then they can join us as others and be part of this community that protects the island. It's a theory. It's a theory. Maybe we'll finally have it spelled out in that much detail, or maybe it's more just a sense that we're supposed to have. But I'm grateful that we got that extra bit of information last episode. So yeah, let's jump into the next one, guys. I'm excited by the title of this one, because what is it entitled? It's entitled Some Like It Hoth. This feels like a fun episode title. I mean, it's got references to a classic Marilyn Monroe movie and Empire Strikes Back. Like, what more can you ask for? So I don't know who this one's going to be featuring. Like, there's still a couple of backstories that we need gaps to fill in. Like we've now learned what happened to get Kate to the airport and how she lost Aaron. We learned how Saeed got captured and brought to Guam, but we don't know exactly how Hurley got out of lockup, was told to be on the flight, all of that. Maybe we're going to find that out, which would be awesome. Always love a Hurley episode. Also, I just remembered this. Cesar is dead. The guy who I was convinced was a Widmore operative on the flight. And it now appears that perhaps Ilana is working for somebody. She definitely knows more than she let on early on. Saeed even asked her directly on the flight, "Are you working for Benjamin Linus?" And she said no, but maybe she's working for Widmore instead. Maybe she is working for Linus, though, because how else do you explain why Saeed ended up on the plane? Ilana was hired to arrest Saeed and take him to Guam on that flight in particular. She was hired to do that. She did that. Who would want that? Well, Linus would. Ben would. Because he wanted to have everybody back together. He felt it was the only way that he could ensure he could get back to the island, because he was quite certain when he turned the wheel back at the end of season 4 that he was never going to be able to get back to the island. And he's been working to get back there because he's so darn manipulative, and he's always got a plan. And as much as you loathe him, you also love him. I still don't know how. He's the most complicated character I may have ever come across in literature or television or movies, or he's just got so many layers. He's so complex. I can't decide how I feel about him. I admire so much about him, but then he goes and does terrible things that you saw coming because you can't trust him. Kudos to the writers for creating just a gem of a character. Anyway, guys, let's jump into it. This is episode 13 of season 5 of Lost, and it's called Some Like It Hoth.
Comes fully equipped.
It's just me.
She looks familiar. Where do I know her from?
Can I have a quarter for the vending machine?
Honey, I said wait for me by the pool.
Is that young Miles? Yeah, that's got to be Miles.
Hey, no running. You hear me, Miles?
Yeah. So she's left the island. If my theory is right, she was married to Chang. Did we see her in bed with Chang in episode 1 of this season or not? Whoa. Oh, he's already got his gift. There's a dead body in number 4, of course. They do such a good job of casting people that could grow up into the characters we already know. Like, this kid's face. I buy it. I buy that this is Miles. White Rabbit. The key was in the White Rabbit.
He's still talking right now.
The kid's got the gift already.
I can hear him.
Miles, you there? Pick up. The security tapes from the pylon camera feeds. They need to accidentally get erased. And if anyone asks, I'm off the grid. I'm looking for the escape hospital. You mean your pal, Saeed?
Yeah.
Damn it, Miles, you gonna help me or not?
Join the team, Miles.
Yeah, I got it.
So they're not bringing Ben back yet. How long does Ben stay away, I wonder?
Jim already knows about this, but I'm going to bring you into the circle of trust.
Circle of Trust. What is
I
it?
need you to take this out to Radzinski at grid 334.
Okay. I double-checked. Radzinski is definitely the guy that killed himself in the Swan.
Isn't that hostile territory?
Welcome to the circle of trust.
Radzinski's... Oh, that tape. The tape's not dealt with yet.
Or sent me instead. I'm in the circle of trust.
Get out!
Radzinski's wired wrong, man. He's just like so on edge the whole time. Who is
What
it?
happened to him?
He had an accident. It doesn't matter what happened to him.
No questions
Because knowing
asked.
that is not your job. Your job is to do what I tell you to.
Miles can talk to the dead. Is that guy... What are they up to? Does this have to do with the orchid? We don't recognize that guy, do we?
So what really happened?
Great entry. Great entry to an episode. I think this is the first time we have one of our Fradies getting a flashback of his own. We saw that episode when we first met them all, and they...
I need to see her. Ma?
Miles.
Who's in the photo
I'm
above
sorry
the
that-
bed? It looks like the dad, but I can't tell if it's...
By sooner. I need you to tell me why I'm this way. And I need to know why you won't talk to me about my father.
Because he never cared about us.
I need to know where he is, Ma.
It doesn't matter where.
It does matter.
Miles, please.
I have a right to know.
He's dead.
Is he, though?
Your father
If it's post
kicked
91,
us out when you were just a baby.
okay, then it's not the father in the photos.
Where's his body?
Somewhere you could never go.
The island! He's Chang's! I'm right.
Did you bring the package?
Package, you mean the corpse?
Yeah. Now I need you to bring it out to Dr. Chang at the Orchid.
Yeah. Okay, Miles knows who Chang is. Miles knows Chang is his dad.
Hey,
I'm convinced by
what
that
are you
look.
doing? That's my van. No, dude, I just signed it out. Doesn't matter. It's mine. Well,
There's a
where are you
corpse in there.
going? The orchid.
Me too. Why don't we carpool? It'll help with global warming, which hasn't happened yet, so maybe we can prevent it.
Hurley!
Where's Ben? Did he?
No, I was gone for 10 minutes. I don't know.
What? Somebody came and took my boy out of here? I'm going to security.
Roger's an annoyance.
Well, here we go.
I feel like it's all gonna fall apart. They managed to hold it down for 3 years, and as soon as Jack and Kate and Hurley arrive,
Bounty hunter.
What are you doing? Right?
falls all apart.
It's personal.
Is he writing Star Wars? He's writing Star Wars.
It stinks. Did you?
No.
Well, it wasn't me. I gotta check. If those sandwiches are bad, people could get sick.
No.
Will you pull over?
Don't climb over the corpse. Secret mission.
Don't worry about it, and don't tell anybody you saw him. Felt a sharp pain in his mouth, which turned out to be a filling from his tooth being yanked right out of its socket and
Magnetism.
flowing through his brain.
That's because they're constructing the swan, and there's
Yeah, but how do you know what he was thinking?
some major electromagnetism.
Just know.
You can talk to dead people.
Hurley's so accepting of stuff like that.
Don't worry, dude. Your secret's safe with me. You wanna know why?
No.
Because I can talk to him too.
Yep, it's true. In a different way, but yeah, absolutely.
Last Labor Day weekend,
Hank!
the driver ran white.
Where's your son buried?
We cremated him.
Have they started filming Breaking Bad yet?
But your ad said you could communicate with the dead anytime, anywhere.
I know what my ad says, Mr. Gray, but
Please. Did he know that I loved him?
it's gonna cost extra.
Why?
Of course.
Is this just fraud, or is he actually...
Concentrate on Russell. Just get a picture of him in your head. Your son says he knew that you loved him. He always knew.
I Thank you.
No, he just took him for money. I don't think he actually spoke to him there.
Excuse me. Miles Strom.
Ah.
Would you like to hear what I have to say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Check out the hot chick, Miles.
I just have a feeling he's gonna be okay.
Those cans aren't 1977 appropriate, but I'll let it slide with the prop department.
Do you know what happened to
No,
my
I
son?
don't.
Why are you so interested in my kid?
I'm sorry I came over here. All right, I was just trying to help.
Why don't you just mind your own business?
I was feeling sorry for Roger for a second last episode. Not anymore.
You can trust me, I talk to lots of dead people.
So you have conversations with them like they're your pals?
Sure, all the time. Sometimes we even play chess.
With
You
Echo.
actually see them?
Of course, why wouldn't I?
Because that's not how it works.
Aha! You wouldn't know how it works unless you can do it.
Which means there's no more talking. There's just who they were and whatever they knew before they died.
You're just jealous my power is better than yours.
We're here.
I like the Dharma School logo too. Oh, we are at the Orchid. Nice, nice. Are we gonna finally see Dan? Is he here somehow? There's Dr. Chang. Yeah, Miles knows who he is. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so weird about it.
Don't worry, I won't tell anyone about the body.
Jesus, Hurley.
He knows? Stay here till I get back. You think you can handle that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's so his dad can't even make eye contact. But he knows.
Dude, that guy's a total douche.
That douche is my dad.
Yep. Did that catch people by surprise, or had everyone kind of figured it out by then?
You want to tell me what's back here, sweetheart?
Your audition. So what can you tell me about this man?
I'm fascinated by a shark t-shirt right now, and I have really no idea why. Other than we've got sharks on Hydra Island in 1977. And in 2004.
Name's Felix. On his way to deliver something to a guy named Whitmore.
Yeah.
Deliver what?
Pictures, empty graves, a purchase order
Thailand.
for an old airplane.
So that guy delivered the evidence to Widmore.
So, did I pass?
So that tells me Ben staged the crash. It hurts my brain.
This island has a number of deceased individuals residing on it. And as this man is the one responsible for their being deceased, we believe they can supply invaluable information as to his whereabouts.
No, so he was going to go to the mass grave?
I'm gonna pass. Thanks for the audition.
My employer is willing to pay you $1.6 million.
And that's why the $3.2 million that he wanted from Ben. Double the price. 1.6, 16 mil. 16, there's our number, but...
So, anyway...
I don't want to talk about it.
Are you kidding me? Your dad is that dude from all those movies. How long have you known he was your dad?
Third day we were here, I was online at the cafeteria and my mother got in line behind me. That was my first clue.
Crazy.
I need you to take me to Rosinski at the worksite. Hurley, you say a word.
Pull over, poop. Got it.
What happened to the body?
What body?
We don't know for sure. The question is, has Miles seen baby Miles yet?
You can get out of here.
We don't precisely know the timing of that tease we got from the start of season 5, episode 1. Roger's a douche. Roger I get he's having a shitty day, but...
I'm beginning to think that she's got something to do with this. I should go to Horace.
She's my friend. She would never do anything to hurt your son.
Sure.
This is so bizarre.
What about your kids?
I have a 3-month-old son, so...
Okay.
No, I haven't told him.
3 months. Wow, congrats. What's his name?
Miles.
Small world. That's your name too, right, Miles? We should all get together for a beer sometime. How awesome would that be?
Hurley's just stirring the pot. Yeah. I'm going to assume this is the Swan.
Hey, Glenn!
It's the Swan.
4, 8,
Ah! The birth of the numbers!
16. Hold on a minute, it's smudged.
42.
42.
How the hell did you know that?
Long story.
They're building our hatch.
What hatch?
The one that crashed our plane.
Oh.
Do I know you?
Uh-oh. What the hell?
Miles.
Who are these?
My name's Bram, and we had to try our best to talk you out of working for Charles Widmore.
I
Oh.
have no idea who that is.
So these guys are Ben's affiliates.
My friend, you do not want to get on that boat. Do you know what lies in the shadow of the statue?
That's the same question Alana asked.
You're not ready to go to that island. But if you come with us, all those things you spent your life trying to find out...
Or are they somebody new entirely?
No. Most of all, you'll know about your father.
What lies in the shadow of the statue?
You're playing for the wrong team.
Yeah? What team are you on?
The one that's gonna win.
So that tells me Alana definitely works for Ben. Unless there's a third team.
Well, this is kind of awesome for you, huh?
How is it awesome?
Because you get to hang out with him, you know? Get to know him better and stuff.
I don't want to hang out with my dad. I don't want to know him better and stuff. Why am I even telling you this?
Because you're in pain and you need to let it out.
I'm not in pain.
You're
It
in
doesn't
pain,
matter.
Miles.
My father is dead. He's gone. He never cared. Nothing I can do will ever change that.
Find his body.
You want to get into my business? Let's get into yours.
Give that back.
How about we read your little diary?
Is that a diary?
He's writing Empire or Jedi.
Exterior Hoth, a little spy robot thingy, zips through the atmosphere and crashes into the snowy planet below. He shakes his fury fist in the sky in triumph.
It's furry. Furry fist.
Hurley's never been a great speller. He can't spell bodies either.
So Star Wars just came out. I've seen Empire like 200 times, so I figured make life easier and send him the script. With a couple improvements.
That has got to be the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Well, yeah? Well, at least I'm not scared to talk to my own dad.
And this is going to be just like the moment with Hank at the picnic table. Like, he just wants to know that his son knew he loved him, and Miles needs to know that his dad loved him.
I had a talk with Roger. I don't think he's going to say anything to anyone for now. Just wanted you to know.
New Jack is so low-key. I kind of dig it.
Hey, boss.
Hey.
We got a development. I know who took the kid.
The tape is still
Yeah, who's that?
you.
Thought that after 3 years of working together, I'd give you the benefit of the doubt.
Get some rope.
Here it goes. How, like, Dharma's just fallen apart because of them.
I wanted to give this back to you.
Yeah. I didn't actually.
I lied to you.
It did him good to know, though.
You could just let me go on believing what you said.
If you needed your son to know that you loved him, you should have told him when he was still alive.
I used to hate my dad, too.
Yeah?
He left when I was 10. But the best thing I ever did was give him a second chance. We got to be the best of friends, and I miss him. And I know he feels the same.
Hurley is so frickin' good for everybody.
It's not happening.
That was Luke's attitude, too.
What?
An empire? I mean, they worked it out eventually, but at what cost? Another Death Star was destroyed, Boba Fett got eaten by the Sarlacc, and we got the Ewoks.
Boba's back! Are those the improvements Hurley wrote? The Ewoks suck, dude. Endor's a cool planet, though. So maybe he's not getting the full story from Mom either. It's a book about polar bears!
Miles, I need you. Scientists from Ann Arbor. Get your van and let's get to the dock.
Scientists from Ann Arbor. Is it the DeGroots? The founders? Who is it? Who is it? It's Dan! He's back!
Long time no see.
So he went to Ann Arbor to do research. Ah! He figured stuff out, I bet. Oh, okay. Oh, so many excites. Okay, so kind of a quiet episode, but I loved it because... Okay, first of all, you've got to feel good when you guess something on Lost and it ends up being right. But I am curious, like, how many of you saw that Miles was Chang's son? I'm proud that I figured that out, but I suspect a lot of people saw that coming. But it was any episode that's heavy on the Hurley, especially when he's helping somebody deal with emotional stuff, just it hits you in the feels. There's something about Hurley as a character that just speaks directly to the heart and just fills you with warm fuzzies all the time. I love those episodes, and I love this episode because of it. I love that he's writing Empire with a couple of improvements. I love just so much fun. I love that we saw a little more of Chang and we learned about that. We see them building the Swan. One guy's killed because of some electromagnetic accident. Like, this stuff's all coming into place. Like, everything that's happening now makes sense in the world that we already know, and it's just kind of it feels like we're just putting the big bow on the 6 seasons. And I know there's going to be more mystery, but I also feel like as we get closer to the end, there's going to be more and more resolution like this, sort of seeing the other side of the same picture. There's going to be more and more moments like this that just sort of fill in the gaps and shade things in, and it's a really satisfying feeling, and it feels well earned after you've put in the time watching the show so much for so long. Ton of fun. I can't see our folks in 1977 holding it together for long. It feels like, you know, it's like a couple episodes ago when Sawyer says to Jack, 3 years, no burning trucks. You show up here for 1 day, and you know everything goes to poop. And I don't think it's directly related to it being Jack, Kate, Hurley, and Saeed, who's just off in the woods, I suppose. But yeah, it feels like their presence in 1977 is not going to be good for any of our survivors in 1977. It feels like Sawyer and Juliet and Miles and Jin are going to be found out too. Like, I'm very curious to see how this goes and how it gets resolved. It's an intriguing problem. But it's kind of a shame because I feel like, in a way, Sawyer and Juliet, and maybe, you know, Miles and Dan to a lesser, and Sawyer and Juliet in particular, found happiness. You know, for 3 years they were keeping house. They found each other. They found that love. Like that's a real relationship that seems to be really strong and founded on all the good things that a relationship should be founded upon. And suddenly it's not. I worry about it. I worry that it's not going to last. But I think if they had their way, they would have been content to spend the rest of their days on the island. And maybe as they get closer to the purge, maybe they could have done something. Who knows? Although in this world, whatever happened, happened. So it just wasn't meant to be. So I like this because this was our first. We never got a. I'm trying to remember what episode it was. Probably like episode 2 of season 4, where we got the brief flashbacks for all of our Fradies. We saw where Daniel and Miles and Charlotte and Frank, where they were in the immediate aftermath of basically where they were when Flight 815 was found at the bottom of the Sunda Trench. So we got brief flashbacks of all of them in a single episode, but we, other than seeing Daniel in other people's flashbacks, for instance, Desmond, we haven't done a flashback just to any single one of them yet. I don't think we have. We'll never get a Charlotte one since she's passed. But we got a Miles one, and I figured you would have got a Daniel one first, but I'm happy to take a Miles one. He's an interesting character, and he's got an interesting gift, and he still hasn't figured out why he is the way he is. Doesn't seem like his mom wanted to tell him. I'm not sure his mom's told him the whole truth about why she left the island, whether Dad left them or something else, because you certainly see at least when Miles is a 3-month-old, Dr. Chang is being a doting father. So what changed? What happened? I don't know. Daniel went away. I was worried that it was more nefarious or time travel-y or something. Turns out, it sounds like he just went to Ann Arbor. He went to the University of Michigan because he's a researcher. He's a scientist. He's been studying space-time, and maybe he's figured some things out. It looks like he's been working with the DeGroots, because I think that's where they were based, in Ann Arbor at the University of Michigan. Am I right? I think I'm right. But he's finally back to the island, so maybe this is what kickstarts our journey to the opening scenes of this season. That teaser that we got when Dan was deep within the construction of the Orchid. So the Orchid and the Swan are being built at the same time in 1977. We know Rudzinski ends up being one of the button pushers in the Swan. We know he ends up blowing his brains out in there. When Calvin is there. So there's been a lot fewer people occupying the Swan than perhaps we previously thought. The way those tapes were, the video, the film from Dr. Chang was, the assignment was like 18 months or something like that. 540 days. Something like that. About a year and a half. And yet, we know Kelvin was there with Rudzinski. Rudzinski feels like he would have been one of the first ones to occupy it, especially once after the incident and the button pushing. And then after Kelvin, he was there solo until Desmond showed up, which was like 2001. Because Desmond was there for 3 years until 2004. Desmond killed Kelvin the day of the plane crash in 2004. He may have caused the plane crash by not entering the numbers. We got the birth of the numbers, the serial number being stamped into the hatch. Bringing that full circle, but it's just a serial number at that point. So when do they decide to start broadcasting the numbers? Why do they have to broadcast the numbers? And when do they have to decide that? Did they only start broadcasting the numbers 16 years ago? We know I'm going all over the place here, guys. I'm going on a deep dive back to season 1. We know what's his name from Santa Rosa Mental Institute that gave the numbers to Hurley. What was his name? You guys know who I'm talking about. The guy that's always playing Connect 4. He and his buddy in Australia, they heard the numbers 16 years ago. No one discovered the numbers before that. So maybe the numbers themselves weren't broadcasting for too long. Here's something that's a little bit bothersome to me. The orientation tape for the Swan is on 8mm film. The orientation tape to the Pearl, which already exists in 1977, is on probably Betamax. Maybe it's a VHS tape, but it's on tape. So is the orientation for the Orchid that Locke watched when Ben was filling that chamber with metal objects prior to exploding it. So why is the Swan on tape, especially since that orientation video would have had to be filmed after the incident that required the button pushing? So it's not even the first orientation tape for the Swan, it's a revised one that involves the button pushing, because prior to then it was just a scientific, it was there to study the electromagnetism of the island. So why is it on 8mm tape, which is an older technology? Anywho, I'm not going to get hung up on petty stuff like that. Dan's back. Presumably he's been doing some very interesting things in studying space-time. What does Dr. Chang know about the Orchid? What does Rudzinski know about the electromagnetic anomaly? What is the incident? Are we going to see the incident? Are we going to find out what that incident is? Is the incident what drives our survivors back to the future? Could that be a thing? Of course it could. We've been talking about that incident since early season 2. That wouldn't blow my mind that the writers knew that far in advance, or at least that they retconned it, that it made total sense. I'm excited to see where this series goes, guys. This was not the episode I expected, but it was a really fun episode to observe. Like I said, it was on the quiet side. We got to spend a ton of time with Miles and Hurley just talking in the van, and that was kind of cool and chill. I'm trying to figure out what's going to... Like, how long is Kid Ben going to stay with the others before he comes back? How long is Roger going to be an issue? So right now, Roger's an issue. Phil, the other security guy, he's an issue. They're tying him up in Sawyer's and Juliet's apartment. That can't last forever. Phil's going to be gone missing. So then Roger's going to go to Horace, and like, how do you extricate our survivors from this mess that they are in? Also, Jack's new personality is just, I can't decide whether he's just so meh, you know. He's very beta right now. He's happy to sort of step back, be a janitor. Yeah, he'll go to Sawyer and give him some information, but he's not taking charge. He's not driving things forward. He's happy to be an assistant. He's happy to be just a cog in the machine. You know, he's got no responsibilities for a change, and it doesn't not suit him. It's just we're so used to seeing it. The first 4.5 seasons of Jack being nothing but impulse and reaction and action and driving forward at all costs. His stubbornness was his defining trait, and now he's like, meh, and he seems happier for it. Make of that what you will. Loving this series. Can't wait for the next one. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments. You guys are so good about just sharing your ideas and your thoughts and your reactions with me in the comments section. If you want to get ahead, right now on the Patreon, guys, we're at least 3 weeks ahead, maybe 4 by this point. My point being, if you can't wait 3 or 4 days for my next reaction here on YouTube, you can go see it right away if you decide to become a patron. It's the best way to support the channel, and it's a pretty cool community over there too. Until next time, everybody, take care, stay healthy, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.